So I made another table, and I did this all handmade stuff in one way, shape, or form, except for a couple crates that came in my Beyond Ice Storm set. So just take a quick look at everything and we'll talk. It's not completely done. There's some more work I'd like to do here, but I think this is good enough for a first play on. And some of the stuff I reused from my wood set. So I've got a bush and some of the little root boxes that I built and some trees. But then I've built some buildings here. I basically built three things here. We've got the inn, the small high-rise apartment complex, and three stores. So what are these? These were boxes, all of them. These boxes were from a coffee club that I belonged to that shipped me coffee, and so they were exactly the same. So if we lift this up inside, this one's actually got some stuff inside, but the basically I trimmed the edges off the box. So the lid is not part of the box. The lid is foam core that I cut to fit, because the box lid, was split down the middle where it opened, and that made it less sturdy. So I just cut it all off, and then what I would do is I'd go into my graphics program and I measured what are my edges and my sides, right? So here's an edge and here's a side. And I'd measure the dimensions of them and I'd find some patterns on the internet. So in this case, I found a nice brick pattern and I repeated it across the size I needed. And then I cut it out onto full-size mailing label paper, didn't cut the doors out or the window or, the doorways or windows or anything like that, and then just stuck it on. And then I'd cut the doors out with an X-Acto knife after the fact. And in this case, what I did with a lot of these smaller doors is I left one edge intact, and perforated it on the other side with a shallow X-Acto knife cut so that the door would actually open. I'm not sure if I'm going to leave them like that or take them off. We're going to play once and see. But sometimes these big doorways, I would just cut it out. And I do the same for windows. This one doesn't actually happen to have any windows on it. And then for interior walls, I would just measure what I thought I needed in foam core, trim it, glue it in, sides and bottom, let it sit. So then the lid, I measured what I needed in foam core and cut the bottom piece out. Actually, what I did was in order to do the measuring, what I did was I built a file that was kind of a gravel pattern or an asphalt pattern in the size that I needed and put it on label paper again, and then stuck the label paper on my huge sheet of foam core that I have, and then cut it out and then to fit. Then I cut some walls, glued them on, and then after gluing on the walls, I stuck so the way I did this was all one piece all the way up. So I actually had to build the roof first, stick it on, and then I laid the sheet over it, and then found the edge with an X-Acto knife and cut through it. There might have been a better way to do that in two pieces, but that actually worked out. And then you'll notice I added ladders, and these are Lego ladders, because they actually work pretty well. And I actually saw this, I think actually on a Facebook post. Somebody mentioned that you could take some Lego ladders and reuse them, so I did that. I didn't go through the trouble of painting them or anything like that yet. I've just kind of dropped them down. And then these like radiator boxes, fan boxes I built. This is actually like a roll from like a paper towels, kind of like this. And I just did a pattern that was a certain height, and I built a bunch of these circles, and the circles have like corners on them, so I'd stick the corners around kind of nice and flat, and then I'd wrap the edge around it, and just a piece of color basically. And this is a picture I found on the internet as well. And then so I'd cut the tube to certain heights, and I'd do a bunch of them, and then I did a couple half height ones. So, and then some of them are just scatter around the table. So let's look at some of the other buildings. So this is my general store. So it's one building with kind of a back room you saw. It had some barrels in it. This is my fancy restaurant called Rosemary. Just found that sign on the internet. With a couple tables in front and in the open area. So it's got these big open doors there, and then this would be like the kitchen storeroom with a ladder. You can see the top of the ladder in the back with a back door. I wanted everything to have a lot of entrances and exits. So this one's got 3 doors, one on the side, one in the back, and then the big one in front. The restaurant's got one in the back, but the front has got these big entrances. Okay, so then this building here actually is 2. It's a bar in the back with a side entrance and a back entrance. And then in the front, it's, I don't know, I call it barbecue faux. I'm not sure what that sign is supposed to represent. And it's got these big little windows too. And then, so I don't really have anything inside. I've tried to kind of make a bar there, but I didn't really. And then this ladder I need to secure better because it's constantly falling down when I take the roofs off. There we go. All right, and then, so next up we have the apartment complex here, and these were tissue boxes, 2 tissue boxes. And again, I cut the roofs off because the top of the tissue box has got a hole in it, so that's not terribly helpful. And so they stack, and I made each 2 levels. So, and hopefully I can manipulate through the big windows for the first levels. So here's one. So I've just put a little pattern down to help me figure out where things were going to be inside and where the interior wall was going to be. And then I built the sides, and so each side is, for each level is a separate file for each side. And basically the sides don't have a lot of pattern on them. It's supposed to be kind of like a concrete pour almost. What I was really trying to do was make sure I knew where the windows were going to be and the doorways. And then again, foam core for the floors for the second floor in each unit, right? And then, so I glue the pattern down, and it includes the pop outs for the balconies. And I don't have any edges on that, and we'll have to see gameplay whether or not that's terrible or not. But I decided that was kind of the way I wanted to do that. And then a roof. So there's no ladders or stairs or anything in that because it was too narrow. So what I thought was it's really an elevator situation. So this isn't, we're gonna play this as an elevator tube, and this bottom section is how you get into the elevator, and then this is an exit on the roof that you can see, right? So it lines up like that. And then, so the thought would be you get in and then you could get off at any of the other floors. Then you can kind of see there's in the little linoleum entranceway, so you would just kind of come out there. We'll see how that works. And then a couple air conditioning units on top in case you ever get up on the roof for that. So that's that building. And then the biggest building here is the inn, and the inn is 2 boxes. It's just 2 random boxes that got shipped to me. So I've been saving random boxes that I've found in various places, thinking I bet I could make a building with that. So similar to that, I'll take it apart so we can see. So there's a roof here to this smaller, but there's a smaller box on top of a bigger box. So we've got a roof here that I made out of foam core that hangs over, and then I've got the roof of the bottom box became the floor of the balconies for the top floor. So you can see I put that down there, and I cut a hole in the middle of both of them, and I built a stairway. And that actually works pretty well. And a little desk, bunch of stairs. So that's what we got. So we're gonna do a playthrough with it to see how it works, and also just to get another game of Infinity in and see if there's changes. I need to make some things like the doors in the back. And then I've got some other things I'd like to do. I'd like to build a roof for this, and I'd like to turn this into like a skyway. So right now it's all under construction. So we're leaving it out. It's under construction in the game as well. So anyways, I'm not going to share any files for this one because, like I said repeatedly, I stole all those images off the internet, so none of them are really mine. But you could probably do something similar if you wanted. And thanks for watching.